Good afternoon. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's 3:30 on the East Coast, 12:30 out there on the West Coast, and from coast to coast. Thanks so much for watching Central Time Zone, Mountain Time Zone, as we will see the president in about 30 minutes to an hour. There's some conflicting reports out there that say that this meeting will come at 4 o'clock. Some say 4:30. We'll be here live for it regardless. Now, this morning at 10 o'clock, the president received his intelligence briefing at the Oval Office. Of course, you also saw that 11 o'clock where the president participated in his first cabinet meeting of 2026. And then, of course, next up, the president makes an announcement from the Oval Office. Now, on X, Carolyn Levitt quoted an article from CBS that the president will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. Specifically, according to the report, citing a White House fact sheet, the order will create a White House Great American Recovery Initiative, which will advise federal agencies on directing grants to support addiction recovery and aim to increase awareness about drug addiction. The group will advise agencies on how to integrate programs on drug prevention, early intervention, treatment, recovery support, and re-entry. So, that's coming up in just a bit. What we know is that earlier, of course, the president didn't take any questions after that cabinet meeting, his first of 2026. Will the president take any questions after this event? We'll wait and see. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, the president and the first lady will attend the screening of the film Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. And of course, there'll be a red carpet there, so the president may stop and talk to reporters. So we'll see. There's a lot going on still on this Thursday, January 29th, a lot on the 24/7 news cycle. Let's do this. Let's switch gears and let's head from Washington, D.C. all the way out to California. Joining us now on Right Side Broadcasting Network is Joyce Simmons, a great Christian patriot, an everyday American who loves God and country. Thanks so much, Joyce, for joining us here on Right Side.
You're most welcome, Matt, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I saw you on Truth Social, and you always post something that's just so based. It's so good. It's just encouraging as well. So I thought, why not bring on people that are just like you and me, everyday America? And we interview a lot of people across the country that are in different industries and all of that. But can you talk to us about your thoughts about God, family, country, just some of the basics as to why someone like you is on Truth Social? Why do you do what you do every day?
Well, Matthew, it's been a long stretch for me. I'm 84, headed to 85 years old. And family and faith and our country have been my very life. And probably because what I feel in my heart is that we need, as a country, to reflect our values. And we're not doing that anymore. America has lost her compass, is really what I feel. I want to be as authentic to my family, to friends, to social. I'm not a big social media person, but for whatever I'm out there, I want to be who I am, and I want to reflect what God has done in my life.
And he's done a lot, because you say you're not a social media person, but I see your account on Truth Social, isn't it? It's at Rejoicing1, correct?
Yes.
So at Rejoicing1. So if those of you that are watching live or maybe on replay, if you go on Truth Social, give Rejoicing1, Joyce Simmons, a follow, because she replies to a lot of the material and content that I've posted over the past 3 years on Truth Social. And all of it, again, is very encouraging in faith, in country, in freedom. So can you talk to us about your upbringing? Tell us about your life a little bit, and again, why the focus is so much into what the country really is about. It is about God, family, country.
That's a loaded question. I was I was born in 1941. I was a World War II baby, and it came from a typical American family. Mom, dad, mom stayed home and was the homemaker, and dad owned a business. And our particular family has always been grounded in the Word of God and in a biblical setting. We grew up knowing value, loved our country. Actually, I'm a sixth generation, all the way back to the Declaration of Independence. My sixth great grandfather was Abraham Clark. And we valued family. We had fun. We camped. America in the 40s was a lot different. We haven't come a long way, but family was most important to us, and our faith was integrated into that, and and our society.
President Trump just the other day posted a video of New York City from decades ago, and he says time has changed. And to your point, we see that. So when you see what's been going on in your state of California, then you go a bit east to Minnesota and just all of the things, you see a lot of people that maybe have gone, they definitely have gone woke, right? They were brainwashed. They're doing things that are just anti the basics, common sense. Or am I wrong? Do you agree?
Oh, it's heartbreaking, literally heartbreaking to watch the degradation of our land. And of course, being in California, it's we're one of the most liberal states in the union, but it is it's tragic to see what has happened. How values you get into this transgender world, you just break away from everything that has been meaningful in a family life. Families no longer you can't go out on. I was just thinking the other day, in comparison of what it was like when I was a child, it was nothing for us children to go out and play and know that we had to be in by dark. No parents. We couldn't do that with children anymore here in especially California. We're not safe. We're not. Things have just really changed. And no, Trump is right. It's not like it was. That's for sure.
So, and last question, if you're just joining us right now, this is Joyce Simmons, an everyday American out there in California. You can follow her on Truth Social at Rejoicing1. What would you say is what is needed to preserve the union, to save the country moving forward? I mean, we have President Trump right now, but 2029 is slowly getting here too. So what would you say to America right now?
I'd go back to 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will heal their land. Matthew, my heart is broken, literally broken, to see even the church turning illiberal to where we need truth again. We're a nation of lies. Even in some of our politics, we just have non-truth. We need to get back to the principles that our nation was founded on. And look at the foundation. Moses on our U.S. Capitol. Anymore, the things that we should be looking toward and revering, we're tearing down. And we need to get back. We need to get back to a nation that honors God and that lives that out, and to follow the laws. If we honor God, we're going to follow the laws. And so it all is intertwined. It's all intertwined. But that's, I say, go back to and we shall know the truth. We need truth. That's why I love RSBN. You are truth. You are truth. We don't have very many that tell the truth anymore. And we need truthfulness in our country. And if we seek God and we humble ourselves, and we, in society, we're all different. Everybody's different. I mean, I'm not saying everybody has to be thinking just like I do. We're all unique in that respect. But definitely we need to get back to we need to pick up our moral compass and start all over again. And I think Trump's doing that. I think he's trying desperately anyway.
Amen. And what you were saying earlier about the knowing the truth, and the back half of that scripture, the truth will set you free. And that's what it's about. Freedom in this country and freedom for the future of our family. Joyce Simmons from California. I knew putting you on the broadcast live would be a great idea, because you are on point. You have wisdom and experience, and an absolute love for God, family, country, truth, justice, the American way. And again, follow Joyce Simmons at Rejoicing1 on Truth Social. Joyce, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Matthew. Have a good day.
You too. This is after probably a year and a half straight of her replying on so many posts on Truth Social, whether it's on mine or RSBN or just other people that are conservatives out there. And so when you keep seeing everything the lady is saying is right on the money, it's like, wow, and I've never done something like that before, where you just kind of randomly reach out to someone on social media that isn't somebody that's already maybe a name, or someone that's a representative, or, somebody in Senate, that kind of thing. But that's what we do here at Right Side Broadcasting Network and in conservative media over mainstream any day of the week. Because again, when we go to those rallies, when we go to those events, we're talking to you guys, us, together. That's what it's about. We the people, a government of, by, and for the people. So that was awesome. Looking forward to posting that on Truth Social, and might as well post it on X as well. If you like to follow me on Truth, it's at Matthew Alvarez. On X, it's at Matthew US Media. Also, if you'd like to follow Right Side Broadcasting Network on Truth, it's at RSBN. More than 4 million followers on Truth, more than 1 million on X, at RSB Network. So it is 3:43 Eastern Time. Thanks again for joining us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go to a few of our great sponsors here. All Family Pharmacy. A lot of flu cases are still circulating in 2026, and this time of year is a good reminder to be prepared. Most people wait until they're already sick to think about medications. By then, it can mean a long wait, limited options, or not getting what you need in time. So All Family Pharmacy takes a totally different approach to all of this with these medication emergency kits. I have to find our kit here. It's down here. Pardon me. There it is. So this is the kit here. This is one of them. This is a flu kit. So instead of reacting at the last minute, these kits let you keep essential prescription medications on hand before an emergency hits. So that, again, is the flu kit. With the flu still spreading, having that kit ready at home can make a real difference. The kit includes commonly used medications to help symptoms quickly, like Tamiflu or ibuprofen, nasal spray, and more. And what really sets All Family Pharmacy apart is the flexibility. These kits aren't one size fits all. You can actually customize your kit and add medications you want to have available, including antibiotics or ivermectin, depending on your needs. They also have a sinus infection kit, travel emergency kit, and other options designed to help families stay ready instead of scrambling. So ordering is simple. You just choose which kit you want online, and then a licensed doctor reviews that request, and once approved, it ships right to your door. It's all about preparation instead of panic. So you can view all available kits and order online at allfamilypharmacy.com/emergency-kits. Use promo code RSBN20 to save 20% today. Let's also go to kalshi.com/RSBN. See that logo right there on the right side of your screen. You also see the QR code right about here. If you go to that QR code or download the app or go to kalshi.com/RSBN, you have a trifecta of ways. There's 3 inroads to this great sponsor and great product. If you're looking to bet or trade or just check out polls, a lot of people just do that. You can do so. More than 1 million users on kalshi.com. A lot of topics out there from music to science, technology, sports, faith, you name it, pretty much it's there, especially some of the weather topics that people talk about, especially after that storm that just really hit hard in our country. All right, it is 3:45 Eastern time. Let's start at the top once again for what you're about to see here on right side. Now, earlier, of course, at 10 this morning, the president received his intelligence briefing at the Oval Office. Then you saw RSBN host Robert McNeely right here in Studio B bringing you that coverage for the first cabinet meeting of 2026. And then at 4:30, here's the thing. We're seeing on the president's public schedule from last night that this event will start at 4:30. However, I saw from Carolyn Levitt on an X post that the event may be starting at 4 o'clock. So we're here either way. The president is going to make an announcement from the Oval Office. And according to an article posted by Carolyn citing CBS, the president will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. Specifically, according to that report, citing a White House fact sheet, the order will create a White House Great American Recovery Initiative, which will advise federal agencies on directing grants to support addiction recovery and aim to increase awareness about drug addiction. The group will advise agencies on how to integrate programs on drug prevention, early intervention treatment, recovery support, and re-entry. Meantime, tonight at 7 o'clock, the president and the first lady will attend a screening of the film Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. All right. This winter, the U.S. Coast Guard is extremely busy. Not only do they save people's lives who become stranded in water, they also stop drugs from coming into our country. And also, recently, the Coast Guard is conducting ice-breaking operations in New York City to keep waterways safe and navigable, say that a few times fast, amid freezing temperatures. Let's take a look at this whole segment and a shout out to the U.S. Coast Guard.
Born of cold and winter air and mountain rain combining, this icy force, both foul and fair, has a frozen harbor lining. So cut through the heart, cold and clear, strike for love and strike for fear. See the beauty sharp and sheer, split the ice apart and break the frozen heart.
What makes Coast Guard some of the best in the world is the amount of proficiency, the level of training, the level of drive that a lot of these members have in the organization.
My first case going out in heavy weather seas was about 14 feet high waves with about 30 knots of wind. I didn't know the sea state can get so rough.
good drivers and a good crew. I hope we'll come back in any conditions.
We work to protect and save lives.
All right, welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. You know, we're about 10 minutes out from the announcement there at the White House. It may be at 4 o'clock. It may be at 4:30. We've heard conflicting end times on it, but regardless, we'll be here with you. And while we were watching that Coast Guard video and that Coast Guard segment, I was just following at Rejoicing1 on True Social. So go ahead and give at Rejoicing1 a follow. Joyce Simmons just joined us here live on the top of the broadcast. An everyday American, just like all of us, you know, living for God, family, country, and, you know, talking truth, talking common sense. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, right, to say, well, law and order is a good thing, or people should be held accountable, or we should have secure elections, right? It's just stuff you won't hear on the mainstream media. We already know that. So that's why conservative media is growing by leaps and bounds in a lot of ways, whether it's the new media seat that you see at the White House, whether it's on social media, whether it's right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, other networks out there. Great to see it happening. And looking forward to posting that interview with Joyce Simmons on Truth Social. Hope you guys will retruth it, like it, all the things, and really just, it doesn't even have to have my face on it. It's not about that. It's just about being able to say, hey, we connected on something there. We connected and resonated with truth. That's really what the goal is. And if it's not the goal of the place that you're watching when it comes to mainstream media, well, you already know that, right? Because they're always on the false narrative side. It sucks, to be honest. You know, let me just say it plainly. It really does. To deal with that for so many years. But now we see, thanks to President Trump, think about it, back in the day, him calling out the fake news. We never dealt with a president that just called out the fake news. I remember Jim Acosta at CNN and the East Room of the White House, and he kept the microphone in his hand, and the one staffer of the White House was trying to, okay, you're done, the president said, and Jim kept trying to, there's this whole thing. And you just don't mess with President Trump when it comes to the media, you know what I mean? Come on now. All right, so earlier this morning, and I don't mean holding people accountable, I'm just talking about he's gonna call you out, especially if you're in the wrong. Earlier this morning, Border Czar Tom Homan held a press conference in Minnesota where he met with state and local leaders and law enforcement over the past 72 hours. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
Well, first of all, about the organization and the funding of the attacks on ICE. I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show our hand, but they'll be held accountable. Justice is coming. Again, we got to all remember why the questions from CNN, why are we here? What started this? 4 years of an open border where millions of people are letting this country unvetted. Remember, let's not forget, for 4 years we were told the border secure. 4 years we were told the border secure. And we all knew it wasn't. And I want this to be a positive thing we're doing here today. I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women, children, sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they when over 4,000 families making that journey died? Historic record. Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years and keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which make this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again, and that's what we're doing. But my 2.5 days up here, we made a lot of progress. I think everybody agrees on the criminal and public safety threats. They agree it's much safer and easier to arrest an alien in a facility than send a whole team out in the field that's going to draw anger, because now we got to send a bunch of people to do something that could have been done by 1 or 2 people.
So if you'd like to watch that press conference in full, that was at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, the border czar was live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have posted that entire press conference on all of our social platforms to keep you up to date on what's going on out there. Today's been pretty much a pretty busy news day. Every day seems like there's a lot going on, but sometimes you do have to unplug for just a hot second and then get back into it, because this is a time to fight. And when I say that, I mean keeping up with the news that's going on out there, speaking up, praying hard, working hard, getting out the vote, all the things, because obviously we have a country to save and we have to win those midterm elections. And, we just don't want our country to go way left. And we will do what we can when it comes to all the things I just mentioned. All right, so Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, this on Breaking 911 moments ago, airing on C-SPAN, said, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro on if President Trump imposes an immigration crackdown on his state. The governor in PA says, I'm not going to get into specifics. We have ratcheted up our preparation should this come. We're prepared on every level. So Shapiro kind of taking maybe more of a Governor Walz stance in Minnesota. We'll see. At the end of the day, again, this is common sense stuff. If you're here illegally, it's already, that's why it's called criminal illegal alien. If all of us, and I mentioned this a lot, but if all of us would travel to another country and try and get into the borders there or whatever, you can't do it without paperwork or a visa or a passport or something. People want to know who you are. You can't just travel between the nations, of course. That's the same thing with this country. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about, of course, even outside of immigration, outside of the economy, outside of law and order. It's securing our elections. It's accountability, transparency. It's all the things. It's everything that you guys are talking about. I'm just kind of saying some of the same stuff you guys are saying out there on X, on Truth Social, on the different broadcasts and shows and all the things going on. But, I asked a question the other day on Truth and on X, and I said, aren't you happy or aren't you glad to be on the right side of history? Aren't you glad to be on the right side of history through all this craziness that's going on? Anyway, just a quick observation. It's just good to know that God, family, country is the way to be. All right, let's go to a few of our sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, mypillow.com/RSBN. Of course, the great Mike Lindell running for governor in Minnesota. That would be awesome to see something like that happen there. Turn that state around. Get the fraud out of there. Get the people that are doing criminal, illegal work there out of there, deported. No more illegal votes. You know what I mean? Well, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. Let's go back to MyPillow. I get on a tangent there with Mike Lindell, but because he's somebody that, of course, loves protecting the vote, right? Securing the elections, and also has a great company there. So if you'd like to order from MyPillow, just go to mypillow.com/RSBN, get all of the information that you need there, all the products, and use that RSBN promo code, of course, to get that discount. If you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801 or go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. Two great ways to do that. We do have a third way. I don't always say the third way, but let's go with that one real quick. This is the snail mail. For a number of you actually do send checks and cash to a P.O. box here in Alabama. So 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. Thank you again for your support here at Right Side Broadcasting Network as we grow and expand. It is 4 o'clock on the East Coast in about a minute, 1 o'clock out there on the West Coast. Thanks again for streaming in. As soon as we see that live feed from the White House for this announcement, we're going to go over the details of the announcement that we're hearing from Carolyn Levitt, citing a CBS story in just a second. But speaking of the White House, if you missed the cabinet meeting earlier, as of right now, as long as we're not on a major delay, we're not going to replay the whole cabinet meeting, but here are some highlights from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Take a look.
It was just announced that the murder rate in our country is the biggest drop ever recorded. It's at the lowest level in 125 years. First in recorded history, it's the lowest in at least 125 years. It's a wonderful thing. and that crime is way down. And one of the reasons was we've taken a lot of bad people and gotten them out of our country. In some cases, they're so bad that we put them in prison because we don't want them to even take a chance of coming back in, even though our border is very secure, record-setting secure. We had 0 illegal aliens being admitted into our country for the last 8 months. That's hard for even me to believe, but the people that make up the lists are supposedly nonpartisan, but I would say they lean toward the Democrat side. And if they say that, I'm all for it. But after 1 year, growth in real incomes is outpacing inflation by more than 3,000 under Trump. So one cost 34,000 and one made 3,000. That's a big swing. Gasoline has plunged to, think of this, over $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. In California, it's $7, $8 a gallon. I was in Iowa, and they had $1.85 because I had it at $1.99 a gallon. And I was corrected by 2 farmers that said, I just bought my gasoline for $1.85. So, Chris, you have to be doing something right, you and Doug, right? And the people of Venezuela were literally in the streets waving American flags. They were so happy. And the people in our country, like in the Doral section of Miami, which is considered Little Venezuela, they're thrilled. And I just spoke to the president of Venezuela, informed her that we're going to be opening up all commercial airspace over Venezuela. American citizens will be very shortly able to go to Venezuela, and they'll be safe there. They'll be safe. It's under very strong control. And the people of formerly of Venezuela, some want to go back and some want to go back to visit, and they're going to be able to do that. So I've instructed Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, that if you would, by the end of today, I'd like you to have the airspace over Venezuela. Planes can go to Venezuela, opened up. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of the people in Venezuela for what they went through, and I want to thank the leadership for really they're doing a good job.
The one big beautiful bill that was passed on July 4th last year, we're starting to see the effects kick in. You mentioned the great economy. One of the things in the one big beautiful bill, Mr. President, it was an honor to host you, and as you said, the best rapper in the world, Nicki Minaj, at yesterday's Trump Accounts Summit. We've now had 1 million people sign up for Trump accounts just this week. We think there'll be 25 million families who are eligible. The segment that you and she did has 1 billion hits, 1 billion hits on the internet. So we're telling everyone, go fill out form 4547, trumpaccount.gov. So thanks to you, the Trump accounts, the next generation's America will benefit from today's record-breaking economy, record-breaking hits. Sir, when we came in, the Biden administration had destroyed the American people with the 3 I's: immigration, inflation, and interest rates. Immigration, check, you close the border. The inflation, as we've heard, back down to target. Prices are coming down. And interest rates, we hope there's more on the way. We've got gains in wages, low prices, and I think 2026 is going to be the year for the Trump boom. It's a supply side boom. I enjoyed the trip out to Iowa. In the diner, the staff there was thanking you for the no tax on tips, and they're expecting big refunds from that. We saw the CEO of John Deere who said, thanks to your tariffs, new plants in Indiana, Carolina.
Two massive plants being built.
And so we saw the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, of course, just yesterday with our coverage here on Right Side when he was speaking about those Trump accounts, and specifically from trumpaccounts.gov, get $1,000 for every American child born between January 1st of 2025 and December 31st of 2028. The account is fully in your child's name, and you are the sole custodian until they turn 18. No contributions necessary, but you can deposit up to $5,000 per year to maximize growth. It's launching July 5th, 2026. You can enroll your child by making an election when you file your taxes. A financial institution will receive your funds and activate your account. And then it says here, sit back and watch the money grow, contribute anytime. And in parentheses, it says, or not. Big things start with small steps. So that's trumpaccounts.gov for a little just rundown on what that all means there, if you'd like to check it out, as we are awaiting President Trump there at the White House. Again, at around 4:30 or maybe earlier than that, the president will make that announcement from the Oval Office. That announcement, we're learning some more details at this hour on X. Carolyn Levitt quoted an article from CBS that the president will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. So if you're just joining us right now here on Right Side, we're told that according to this White House fact sheet, according to this report from CBS, the order will create a White House Great American Recovery Initiative, which will advise federal agencies on directing grants to support addiction recovery and aim to increase awareness about drug addiction. The group will advise agencies on how to integrate programs on drug prevention, early intervention treatment, recovery support, and re-entry. Speaking of all of that, you think about Mike Lindell's drug recovery network, a great place to go as well for those dealing with drug addiction. Obviously, Mike Lindell went from a drug addict to being born-again Christian, saved through Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and then an owner of a great business, running for governor, and really a staunch supporter of securing our elections, and of course, a staunch supporter of President Trump. So a lot of great things come from a place of maybe sometimes rock bottom. That's what happened with Mike, and you see what he's done. And he also has that Mike Lindell recovery network, so pretty awesome to see it. Tonight, again, for those that are just joining us, at 7 o'clock, the president and the first lady will attend that screening of the film Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. So I heard that, tomorrow's the only day that the Melania film will be in theaters, but then I did see another report that some theaters across the country are actually playing that starting tonight as well. So if it's in your neck of the woods, great. I know, I think Robert McNeely was looking to see if it was. But it's not in this specific area of Alabama, but at least for tonight. Tomorrow, again, it'll be in theaters nationwide. So it'll be an interesting film to see. And again, the president and the first lady will attend that screening of the film at the Trump Kennedy Center a bit later. All right, as we await President Trump, we'll be joined by a live guest coming up in just a minute. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. This live stream broadcast brought to you by some great sponsors, including AngelPace.com out of Spring, Texas. They hire military veterans and also have been a longtime sponsor here at this network, selling some great products. One of them, the flagship product that you see right there on your screen. Also, there are a number of other products to check out. So just peruse the site if you'd like. Valentine's Day around the corner, birthdays, gifts, all sorts of things. You can get it all there at angelpaste.com. Use that RSBN promo code at checkout. You get quite the good percentage off as well. Let's move over to Kalshi.com/RSBN. For those of you just joining us, Kalshi has been around for a little bit now, and more than 1 million people are on this site. Now, this is about betting and trading and checking polls. All sorts of polls you can check out there on Kalshi.com/RSBN. You can download that app. You can go to the QR code if you'd like. A number of ways to talk about a number of topics, from music to sports to faith, politics, weather, all the things. It's all there for you at Kalshi.com/RSBN. All right, it's 4:10, Thursday, January 29th. Coming up in just a few minutes, as long as if the president starts, we'll go right there. But if there's anything that's a slight delay, we'll have a live interview guest coming up here in a minute. And we'll just leave it at that for now. And then we'll get to our guest who's been on the broadcast before in just a few minutes. As it's 4:11 Eastern time. All right, let's do this. For those of you that just joined us, there's a lot going on, of course, with the Coast Guard right now. The winter is just obviously very difficult in parts of the country. They're actually using some of their cutters out there on the waterways to help out NYPD in New York City. They also are saving people that are, sometimes stranded in the waterways. They're also stopping narcotics from coming in across the the open sea and that kind of thing. Well, let's just take a look at this Coast Guard segment. Again, a shout out to the United States Coast Guard.
Born of cold and winter air and mountain rain combining, this icy force, both foul and fair, has a frozen harbor mining. So cut through the heart, cold and clear, strike for love and strike for fear. See the beauty sharp and sheer, split the ice apart and break the frozen heart.
What makes Coast Guard some of the best in the world is the amount of proficiency, the level of training, the level of drive that a lot of these members have in the organization.
My first case going out in heavy weather seas was about 14 feet high waves with about 30 knots of wind. I didn't know the sea state can get so rough.
With good drivers and a good crew, I hope we'll come back in any conditions.
We work to protect and save lives.
Just a quick Coast Guard segment there for you. Those are some of the latest videos from the United States Coast Guard. What a job that is, from coast to coast around the country out there when it comes to the various waterways, the open sea, that kind of thing. In the meantime, let's go now to one of our great guests that have joined us prior here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Singer, songwriter Jeffrey Steele joins us once again. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. the Billboard charts because I'm seeing the country digital track A Voice continue to rise. Can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been completely grassroots, and the first week debut was at number 4, which is pretty lofty for considering we can't get any radio airplay or any traditional sort of music business media surrounding us. So thanks to you guys, you're giving us the voice to be the voice that we're trying to be. So very grateful.
And if you haven't seen it, if those that are watching right now, a lot of people that watch us are on, of course, X, but definitely on Truth Social. And Devin Nunez, I remember he was retruthing your video. And I believe, were you with John Rich the other day too, playing live? I mean, a lot of people are liking this song. And if you haven't seen this song, the music video as well, it's awesome.
Well, there's been a couple of like I've been on tour playing a bunch of shows, and there's been some leaked, live videos of me singing the song wherever I was, where I was in South Dakota a couple of days ago, in Florida a couple of days before that. And the reaction is the same everywhere. Everybody gets on their feet and they're screaming, and it's pretty amazing, powerful song. And so John was reposting, and some other people were reposting, and it just kept getting more hits. And it's really all we've got out there is the people. If they love the song, like we can't make them love the song, but if they love the song, they have to support us because we can't get any help from the traditional, channels that the music business goes through. It's just impossible for us.
And the thing is that's what's awesome about conservative media and we the people. We outnumber the mainstream any day of the week. The majority of this country are people like you, people like me. Oh, by the way, can you tell the people that are just joining us saying, well, I've heard of Jeffrey Steele, maybe I didn't. Can you talk to us about being a singer-songwriter and some of the songs that you wrote for people like Eric Church and others?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've been around for probably 45 years, and I've written The Cowboy and Me for Tim McGraw, Stick That in Your Country Song for Eric Church, Am I the Only One for Aaron Lewis, of course, a couple years ago. All of Rascal Flatts, What Hurts the Most, My Wish, These Days, Me and My Gang, Montgomery Gentry, My Town, Speed, Gone, Hell Yeah. It's been a lot. Keith Urban, Raise 'Em Up, Zach Brown, Knee Deep. There's been a lot of songs. I've been very blessed.
That's
Worked
awesome.
hard, though.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of years, but that's the thing, though. I remember when I worked in Nashville, I understood the singer-songwriter thing's a big deal. When you're a songwriter, you don't get a lot of the pats on the back. But to your point of a voice song that you have sung and have released, it's kind of like being able to finally come out there and just say, you know what? I'm fed up with the way things have been, and I get to share my heart with the people. Can you talk to us about the specifics of the song once again?
Yeah, and I've been saying it in songs for my whole career. Just obviously we're in a way crazier time right now, right? So I've been saying the same themes and the same kind of things, but now I've got a lot of friends and artists that feel the same way as me, and they know that they cannot speak those words without getting canceled, without getting, there's going to be flack that they're going to get. And those guys are running buses and tours down the road. They don't want to lose their employees. So here I am, a guy who's been behind the scenes for 40 years, giving these songs to everybody else. And it's kind of ironic that the song's called A Voice, because I've been keeping mine kind of, under wraps, giving them to everybody else. And now I've got this chance here, and it just felt like it was something that I had to say from my heart, because it's something I've been writing all my life. And I felt like this was the moment for me to just kind of tell what I feel. I'm just sick of seeing what I'm seeing out there in my country. And I know that people feel the same way, because every night I play it live, they're on their feet. And there might be a few outliers that'll scream about, the Charlie Kirk line in the song. But the bottom line is everybody feels like they're not spoken for right now with this crazy politic that's going around and coming in our faces. And just to that point, I don't want to go on too long, but Bruce Springsteen just released a song called The Streets of Minneapolis today, and it went straight to number 1 because he's got the whole system behind him to do that. And guys like us that are on the conservative side, we don't have that voice to do that unless it's guys like you and John Rich and other platforms that have given me and Devin Nunez, of course, an ability, Jason Whitlock, to get my song out there. So it really is unequal balance of the scales for us in terms of culture in the music business. But culture works both ways, even for us on the conservative side, right? So,
but we also
I'm speaking my mind.
No, I hear you, and that's what we like here at Right Side. If you joined us earlier, we interviewed an everyday American, Joyce Simmons, a great person out there in California, who doesn't usually have a voice. She has a voice on Truth Social, and I said, you know what? Let's bring her on, and I think it's that's why I resonate with what you're doing out there, because I can tell when you're singing that song too, man. Like it's from the heart. It's for the country, and that we're missing that a lot, especially in the mainstream.
Yeah, I love my country. I love everything about it. But the major flaw with our country is it's built on faith, morality, and ethic. So if you take those three things away, which is what they're doing to us now, that paper gets pretty flimsy and it flops around and it doesn't mean as much if you take those three basic tripod things out of the Constitution. It's just going to fly away in the air. And that's what I'm seeing in the world right now. And frankly, I'm just sick of it. And I just know a lot of my compatriots and they're not allowed to say these things. And I'm in a fortunate position where I don't care. I love my country and I'm going to say it. I'm going to speak up at any cost. Somebody has to right now because we're letting that narrative just scare us, overtake us, and really try to break apart the fundamental laws that make a country, that make a civilization a civilization. I mean, it's just fundamental stuff that you protect your borders and your people. And not the immigrants, you protect your citizens. You let the immigrants come through the front door like you would in your house. You don't let them sneak through the back and overtake your house. So this is the thing that's just, it's so beyond not understanding common sense with these people. And I'm out of my mind watching it on TV and I just have to write about it because that's what I do.
And then that's why I want to have you on the broadcast. This is the second time now because I know that you have a lot to say, and it's things. This is the thing. I've interviewed Ted Nugent on the show, Neil McCoy, yourself, a number of others, John Rich a while ago, and you guys are on the right side of history, just spitting truth. And I think that you were saying the balance is a little bit more mainstream and the system is bigger. It's a David versus Goliath. I think we're going to start growing more and more in conservative media and in conservative music and all the things. Do you agree?
Yeah, and like I said before, we don't have the outlet. So if you look at the 60s and Bob Dylan and Peter, Paul and Mary and the whole hippie movement, they had Rolling Stone magazine, Billboard magazine. They had all these outlets that were promoting the narrative of the flower power culture and stick it to the man and that whole era that during the Vietnam War. In this era, we don't have that. We don't have anything. We only have that same box that they built back in the 60s that has completely surrounded that narrative. And now 50 years later, we're seeing the result of that narrative. And we need, and what you guys are, Matt, you guys are giving us the platform and the magazine, so to speak, and the TV show and the box for us to stand on and say something. And of course, the music has to be good. It has to be great. It can't be, I can't beg people to play my songs. They have to love my songs. But I know enough to know when I'm getting an honest reaction from people in the world. That's what I do as a songwriter. That is my job to understand how people react to my words. And so when I see that out in public, when I see people that they're waiting to stand up before I even finish the song, I'm going, we got something here that people are just afraid to say it. And of course, when I walk off stage, they embrace me and they go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying this is everything I feel, but I can't say it at work. I can't say it here. I can't say it there. You know, I've got employees, I'll get fired. I've got this going on. So I'm in a fortunate position, which I don't need to be in, but I want to take that role if I'm able to do it for the country. If that's my role, I'll take it because I love the country. And I think we have to be just based on common sense law to protect our land. And we'll never be taken over by an outside country. It'll only be from within. And the founding fathers always knew that. They always knew it would be from within, and we're watching it happen right in front of our eyes right now. And can I elaborate? One more small point is when I saw that flag, the Somali flag go up in Minnesota, without an American flag above it. I mean, that is the symbolism of conquering. I mean, the American flag has to be on top in our country with the Somali flag on the bottom. You can fly it all you want, but you have to have an American flag above it. When that doesn't happen, when you got this or just this, we don't have a country. And people might just roll their eyes and go, oh, please. But we don't have a country. That's the first sign. It's so true. If you're just joining us now, this is singer-songwriter Jeffrey Steele, of course, wrote for a number of huge acts out there. Eric Church, you said the Rascal Flatts. I mean, so many people. But then now this song, A Voice, is awesome. By the way, I wish I could show you on Spotify here. I have your song. I think it's the second song on my, you know how you just keep adding songs? Love it. So, no, seriously. I mean, I listened to it the other day on the way into work. And I'm not trying to score. There's no points I'm trying to score with you, man. It's just because it's all about truth. And the music video is awesome. So if you get a chance to watch this, guys, check it out, the Jeffrey Steele A Voice music video. Now let's shift gears and let's talk about politics even more right now. The president's actually going to be signing an order, launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. Let's be honest about that. The music industry and you know, isn't it a thing, right? Well, your thoughts about just the president working towards stopping the drug addiction? I just think it's great. I mean, we've lost, I'm not going to, it's going to be, I'm quoting probably the wrong number, but from what I've understood, 300,000 teenagers. And I've known quite a few of parents that have had kids that have lost their kid to fentanyl. And not because they were addicted to it, because they maybe used it one time and it was laced and they OD'd and they died. And it's happening everywhere. Everybody's screaming about Venezuela, but we got to stop these drugs from coming in. I mean, it's another weapon to keep our people down, keep us dumb, keep us not paying attention, keep us looking the other way. And I praise President Trump for all he's doing. We're talking about these arguments with Ilhan Omar and all the struggle she's going through. President Trump took a bullet to the head, and it's not even talked about. And it's not even an issue on the news anymore in mainstream news. And when you think about what Trump is still standing up and still fighting, he hasn't backed down one bit. And anybody that's my age, I'm in my 60s, I'm 64 years old. We grew up with Trump as a hero in our eyes in the 80s, long before he got into politics. But the minute that he said he was going to run conservative, they just clamped down. And we've been looking at it now, 12 years of just a beatdown on President Trump. And they still can't stop the truth, because he's just bringing the truth. And so I love what he's doing now. I hope we can do whatever we can to stop the drug flow from coming in. Matt, a lot of my journey as a songwriter, singer, I do a lot of charitable work, and I play so many and speak at so many rehabs and recovery units for kids and teenagers all around America. So I see it firsthand, man. And it's an industry I don't want to have anymore. And I'm happy to help out, but you know what I mean? It's gotten too big. We need to do something about it. We need to get our kids walking straight again. I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah. Let's talk about that quickly as we're waiting the president there, as it's the bottom of the hour, just in a couple minutes here on this Thursday, January 29th. Jeffrey, can you talk to us about your personal thoughts on the solutions for breaking drug addiction, whether that's faith, whether that's politics? What is it that you would say, hey, you know what? This is how you can break that addiction. Well, I don't want to make a shameless plug, but it really is the metaphor of this song, A Voice, is that it's people reaching out to people. The most important thing is that we put our hands through faith in God. We put our hands, our ears, our hugs, our words on other people. We don't turn it all over to a government agency. We have those agencies in place to help us, but it's up to us to start helping each other. Like, we got to get back to helping each other and just being there for each other and showing kids. We need coaches. We need mentors. We need dads to be in the house. We need better sons, better fathers, all of it. And it comes with faith, and it comes with a dad in the house that's helping these kids grow and learn. We lost our families in not only in the inner cities, all over the rural parts of the nation too. But we've got to get our families back together. We've got to get our faith back together. This all started years ago, and it's very subtle. Back in the 70s, it all started peeling apart with feminism, and it all started breaking apart, and we got into these single mom families and single parent families, households, no dads in the house. It completely broke up the power and the structure and the beauty and the natural thing of having a family going into the future and learning how to be there for other people, teaching our kids lessons, giving them outlets to figure out who they are and what they are, so they don't have to turn to drug addiction, transsexual operations that are going to alter their bodies and their ability to have relationships for the rest of their lives. I mean, this generation of kids it's going to be a nightmare in 10 years. And I'm so glad that he's going to implement this, because I think once we start focusing on our kids again and being parents to our kids and not friends to our kids, we're going to really see a change in this country. We are going to have a golden age, and I'm so grateful for President Trump. I really am.
And getting the corruption out of the education system, and understanding that the mainstream media or mainstream whatever, music, whatever, has really just been that brainwashing that this is cool to do, this is cool. But you know what? Let's just be straight up. God is not going to take a back seat to any drug out there. The Holy Spirit, Jesus, in my opinion, like the best. The presence of God is the best. And anyway, man, we can go for a while here, Jeffrey.
Oh my God, I could talk so much on it. And God is the answer. I mean, I'm celebrating. It's not a celebration, but it's the anniversary of my youngest son's death, who was in an accident. It's been 19 years yesterday, and it's always a really tough moment for me. But when I look back on it and I see how that changed my life and made me take my bad in my life and try to make it good, try to be a voice, try to be a friend, try to be someone who's by someone's side and speaking up for them. I've tried to make that my life for the last 19 years and take my tragedy, turn it into something productive. And that's what God's got us here for, to be better people, to help other people. And I mean, all we're seeing in the media is just people just torching each other. I mean, whether it's on our phones, I mean, everybody's just torching each other. And that's what's missing. And I think President Trump knows he has to be a tough guy about it, and everybody's going to hate him. They're going to hate him anyways, because they built that into the people. But he knows that he has to walk this plan through, and it's going to hurt. But people on the conservative side that believe this, they have to stand up and be a voice with him. They have to be in line and stand up and not be afraid anymore to talk. I'm not afraid. I threw away and gave up there's no reason I need to be out here doing this. But I know my country's more important to me than that, and for my grandkids and for my kids. So I'm willing. I'm willing to stand up and do whatever I got to do.
And you know what? There's a lot of people out there that are saying, amen, Jeffrey, that's exactly how I feel. I know some personal friends of mine that are saying the same thing. I have to do something. There's got to be something I can do, whether it's write a book, whether it's have a podcast, whether it's just speak at your local church, whatever it is, to get the word out there and speak up, because the information war is the real deal. Because I'll just stop there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all have a talent. If you know what it is, be involved with that talent. Whether it's helping a kid, you'd be surprised. Like, we have a scholarship program with my charity that we help these kids that maybe come from single parent or no parent families. We've turned around so many lives just by mentoring a little bit or coaching a little bit to these kids, what the potential is of them to be able to do something positive in their life. It changes their whole life. And the same thing goes with the negative. If you teach a kid something negative, he's going to do just as great on the negative side. But you know what I mean? That's where it lives for me. So I just try to focus everything towards, how can I make somebody's life better? If I see something wrong, I got to stand up for somebody that can't stand up for their own. I got to say it. I got to speak it. I got to be it. This is a time more than ever, because the narrative is getting stronger and stronger and stronger out there against the people that just want to raise their kids, follow their faith, and live a good life and live a free life. And oh gosh, I could just go on forever.
No, I need you to go on that point, because what you just said there, a free life. Let's keep going, man. This is the thing.
Yeah,
Jeffrey,
we get all these rocks thrown at us from other countries. No kings, no this, no that. They're always trying to put something on President Trump. But what everybody's forgetting is all those countries are ruled by kings. England is Canada, England is Australia, England is New Zealand. England was America, but we kicked their butt. And that's just being honest. And we wanted to live free. We wanted to be our own king. So when they put a label on Trump, like, when they say no more kings, they are being ruled by kings. It's so hypocritical. And I don't know how people cannot see it. It baffles my mind. And the one thing I always like to say about America, we're a constitutional republic. As you know, republic means the people. If any other country is not a free country, they just have freedoms that are given to them by their parliament through their democracy. We have a democracy too, but we're a constitutional republic, which means the last word lies with you and me, the people. And that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand about politics and the word democracy. But here's my take on democracy, Matt. 2 wolves and a sheep are sitting in a bar talking about what's for dinner. That's what democracy is. You know what I mean? The wolves are going to eat the sheep.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. A constitutional republic.
And they're going to eat the sheep. But what we have in our country is the ability for the people to have the final say on what the laws of the land are. And that's why we have a First and Second Amendment, which they're also trying to crush.
And then to go along your analogy, thank God that you are not a sheeple just following, and you are a lion out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I've been in my career, I've always followed the path of trying to write what I see in the world. When I turned in 5 years ago, Eric Church recorded a song called "Stick That in Your Country Song." I got a lot of flack from the industry. Like, what are you so mad about? I said, I'm not mad. I'm just writing what I'm seeing in the world right now. The statues coming down, all this stuff. And then I wrote Am I the Only One with and for Aaron Lewis. And boy, that was my wake up call to being thrown into the narrative and people saying, no, you can't say that. We're not going to play that song. No one's going to hear that song. But despite that, Aaron was able to take that to #1 because the people like you and other platforms that were giving them a voice to sing the song went to #1. So it's doable, but we can't play. I'm spinning off the rail a little bit here, but we can't play the game that they've laid out for us on the conservative side. You know what I'm saying? We don't have Billboard magazine. We don't have Rolling Stone magazine. We don't have a left painted narrative like they do. We need these vehicles. We need a new sort of, it's like the AFL and the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, we need another branch in order to speak our minds. Here's the, have you heard this new Bruce Springsteen song? It just came out.
This is the thing. The Walking in Memphis song from years ago, not Bruce Springsteen, right? And then I see Walking in Minneapolis. Walking in Minneapolis, Bruce Springsteen. I saw it. I didn't even want to listen to it.
Yeah. And Springsteen also had a song called The Streets of Philadelphia too. So he's like franchising his own ideas. But the point being is that he's got this song out, and the lyric is just bashing Trump. It's bashing ICE. It's being very aggressive. I stick a line in my song that says the Charlie Kirk Choir, which was a reference to people praying and singing after his assassination. And I can't get it played on mainstream country radio because of that.
Hold on.
That's the whole
really?
that we're in. Yeah.
You can't get a voice to be played on mainstream country radio?
No. They won't play it. They won't play that. They won't play that conservative narrative on the radio. It's too offensive. But to call out Trump and to call out our protectors, our law enforcement that are protecting the citizens, not the crazy people protesting, but the citizens who just want to live free, they're getting called out in his song. But it's okay. Yeah. And it's not going to leave #1 because he has that he has those platforms behind him that are going to support him no matter what.
Well, Jeff,
and I'm not, and trust me, I'm not complaining. I'm not out here to be famous. I'm just out here to bring a song. I hope a bunch of artists will start bringing out songs like I'm doing. That's my main goal too, is to get these younger kids to start writing about what's really happening out there.
Yes.
And that's all the success I want from it. I'm not trying to make money. I've been in this business for so long. I've been so blessed. I'm trying to do what I feel like I'm being called by God to do. That's all. And it's a tough fight. And we need you, and we need everybody out there that's willing to support it. It's got to be good music. It's got to be culture driven. But if it is good, we got to have people supporting us on the grassroots. And that's all we ask for. And I'm just so grateful that you would give me time to talk. I really am.
Of course. And also, conservative media is growing. And again, it's a David versus Goliath thing, but we know who wins that, figuratively within the media war. Yeah. So, Jeffrey, this is the second time we've had you on. Love to have you on again to talk politics, to talk commentary, because when people resonate, with the rest of the audience, right? I believe a lot of people that are watching right now are saying, I like this guy. Who is this guy? Jeffrey Steele. I love him. So we're going to keep that going, because
I appreciate it.
At the end of the day, common sense is the way to go, and speaking freely without concern of what's going to happen. That's why your song "A Voice" is rising on that Billboard country digital chart.
And yes, sir. And isn't that what it is? Like, there's no such thing as hate speech. You say whatever you want, and people have to determine and judge what is right and wrong to them. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you for saying that.
That's what a free nation does.
If there is a threat of violence, that is against the law. You're allowed to say it, but it's against the law. But outside of that, outside of that, if you say, I don't like this such and such leader, or I don't want to call them by a certain pronoun, that's not, they can call it hate speech all they want, but that's not against the law of the United States of America.
Yes, and there's a lot of things that got us here to this point. And a lot of it, like you said earlier, starts in our education system. It really has. And it's completely out of whack. And I hope that's the next thing we can get to. I hope we can restructure and become number one again in educating our kids like we used to be. Now we're not, and everybody gets a trophy and everybody gets along. That's not how it works. That's not how you get the best from people. And I could just elaborate on civilization, because civilization sits on a garden that is sitting on a graveyard of the people that were killed to conquer it, to make the civilization. So if we don't have faith, if we don't have something higher than us to elevate a civilization, this is what we're seeing happen. This is what we see happen. And that's what the founding fathers knew. That's why they drew the Constitution up. That's why they made it the way they did. And they knew, and Benjamin Franklin said, if you can keep it, it's a republic if you can keep it, because he knew that it was going to be infiltrated from the first second it was ratified. And it was, and it's been for 250 years. They've been crawling in under the door more than ever before. And again, that's what's got me. And the best thing I have, Matt, is my words and my music that I've been writing for all these years, and just observing what I see out there in the world, and just trying to be honest about what I'm seeing. I'm not trying to paint anybody to think a certain way. I just want you to see, this is what I'm seeing the people doing when I'm out there writing about it. And I'm just trying to put that out there and put my best foot forward. And hopefully get people to rally and say, yeah, he's right. He's right. Like, we got to do something. We got to speak up for other people. We got to be there for other people. We got to quit being afraid of nothing. We're all just really afraid of some big bad wolf that the media is building. And we know that we know, and that I know, and that we so outnumber this narrative that they're putting out there, probably by 90 to 10%. But we're just not being given the platforms to do it. The world's been built in a way that's surrounding their narrative.
But what I'm saying is, I believe that the platform for conservatives is growing here in this country.
Absolutely.
And we'll be able to match, if not overtake it, in a figuratively speaking way of ratings. I mean, the people want common sense, truthful journalism, music, that kind of thing. They don't want to be lied to anymore. They want to hear quotes like this that's going to match exactly with what you just said there. The second president, President John Adams, said, "You will never know how much it has cost my generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make good use of it."
Man, that's just, it's so good. And to your point, it is a growing conservative media. And I just, my message to the people out there that are watching is that it's so important that you support it. It doesn't have to be my song or whatever, but if it's something that hits you and you believe in it, go to the most honest sources you can find. And right now, we all know it's on the independent side of the fence. It's guys like you. It's guys that are out there that are just trying to get the facts across and get past all the hype and all the narrative. There's just so much that we don't see in the mainstream that is going on good in this world. And I see it everywhere I go, everywhere I travel, everywhere I play. I find good people that are helping other people. I don't see racism. I don't see all this crazy hate. You know what I mean? But I see it on the news, on the mainstream news every night. I see it talked about on CNN or all the obvious places. But I don't see it when I'm out in the world. I see people that are helping each other. I see people in communities that are rallying around each other everywhere I go. And I'm in a lot of small towns, a lot of big towns, but especially in small town America. And that's my take on what I see out there. So I just try to ride it.
Singer-songwriter Jeffrey Steele, thank you, sir, again for joining us on Right Side. We'll see you again soon.
Man, I thank you for the time. We really appreciate it. It means the world.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Awesome stuff there. I mean, just interviewed Jeffrey Steele there for the past 35 minutes. The president scheduled at 4:30 there. Haven't seen a feed yet. Of course, we would go to that if the president was at the 4:30 event with the Oval Office there. But as soon as we do, we'll take you there live. Of course, that was singer-songwriter Jeffrey Steele, getting a lot of play on Truth Social as well, with Devin Nunes retruthing that song, A Voice. You can check it out wherever you listen to your music, but also check out the music video as well. We played that here on Right Side a couple weeks ago as well. So anyway, good stuff. Let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you'd like to follow us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN, or on X at RSB Network. On X, I'm at Matthew US Media, and on Truth Social at Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for live streaming in with us. Everybody that, retruths or likes a post and all that kind of thing, it's not just a business, to do those things. We understand the attachment of the love for this country. Every time you hit that like button or retruth, that kind of thing, it's not, again, just a business model of things. It really is us, wanting to share common sense information with you, talk about the news of the day, have guests like Jeffrey Steele on, have people like Joyce Simmons, who joined us at the top of the broadcast at about 3:30 Eastern time. And you might be like, well, who's Joyce Simmons? Well, Joyce is someone that is on Truth Social. You can follow her at Rejoicing1. And again, why though, right? She's from California. She's 84. She's a great person that really, you just resonate with these kind of people, especially when they reply with such truth on a constant basis. I've been on Truth Social for, I think, 3 years now. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I gotta just interview her. And I did. And I look forward to posting it on Truth a little bit later. And those of you that are watching on Truth right now, that community, shout out to you guys. This is awesome to see so many people that are, following Right Side Broadcasting Network, following myself and Robert McNeely and others. And also those that are not on Truth. If you're on X, well, maybe have both accounts. Why not, right? Anyway, so good stuff. Again, to keep speaking truth, to keep speaking common sense. That's what we do. It's better than all the noise that's out there any day of the week. All right, so we know that the president will make that announcement from the Oval Office anytime now. So as soon as we see that feed, we'll go there live. We're told that the president will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. Now this, according to the X account of Carolyn Levitt, I believe she may have posted that on Truth as well, citing a CBS News article, specifically, according to that report, citing the White House fact sheet, the order will create a White House Great American Recovery Initiative. And before I continue on there, again, bringing up Mike Lindell, he has the Mike Lindell Recovery Network. I mean, this is something that's obviously very real, and people deal with this, drug addiction, that kind of thing throughout the country. But at the end of the day, through faith, at least in my opinion, through Jesus, the power of God, and a number of other things, we can work through certain kinds of situations, especially when it comes to addiction. So the White House Great American Recovery Initiative will advise federal agencies on directing grants to support addiction recovery and aim to increase awareness about drug addiction. The group will advise agencies on how to integrate programs on drug prevention, early intervention, treatment, recovery support, and re-entry. Tonight at 7 o'clock, the president and the first lady will attend that screening of the film Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. So, earlier this morning, the border czar Tom Homan held a press conference in Minnesota where he met with state and local leaders and law enforcement over the past 48 to 72 hours. Let's go to a quick clip of what he had to say from this morning in Minneapolis. We'll go to Tom Homan. Doesn't look like we have the technical difficulties happening right there. So the border czar Tom Homan held a press conference from this morning. Do we have that, guys? All right.
Well, first of all, about the organization and the funding of the attacks on ICE. I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show our hand, but they'll be held accountable. Justice is coming. Again, we got to all remember why the questions from CNN, why are we here? What started this? 4 years of an open border where millions of people are in this country unvetted. Remember, let's not forget, for 4 years we were told the border secure. 4 years we were told the border secure, and we all knew it wasn't. And I want this to be a positive thing we're doing here today. I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women and children sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they when over 4,000 aliens making that journey died? Historic record. Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years and keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which make this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again, and that's what we're doing. But my 2.5 days up here, we made a lot of progress. I think everybody agrees on the criminal and public safety threats. They agree it's much safer and easier to arrest an alien in a facility than send a whole team out in the field that's going to draw anger, because now we got to send a bunch of people to do something that could have been done by 1 or 2 people.
All right, so we're about 5 minutes out to the top of the hour, Thursday, January 29th. Thanks so much for live streaming in with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Of course, we'll be getting to President Trump here momentarily as soon as we see that live feed. We'll take you to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. All right, let's do this. Let's go to a few of our sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. This is all about the emergency kit right here with All Family Pharmacy. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/emergency-kits. and use that RSBN 20 promo code. Now, with flu still spreading, having that kit ready at home can make a real difference. The kit includes commonly used medications to help manage symptoms quickly, like Tamiflu and ibuprofen, nasal sprays, and more. But what really sets All Family Pharmacy apart is the flexibility. The kits aren't one size fits all. You can actually customize your kit and add medications you want to have available, including antibiotics or ivermectin. That's just depending on your needs there. So they also offer the sinus infection kit, the travel emergency kit, and other options designed to help families stay ready instead of scrambling. So ordering is simple. You could choose your kit online. A licensed doctor reviews your request, and once approved, it ships right to your door. And it's all about being prepared instead of panicking. So you can view all available kits and order online at allfamilypharmacy.com/emergency-kits. Use promo code RSBN20 to save 20% today. Also, angelpaste.com out of Spring, Texas. Of course, if you use the RSBN promo code for whatever you purchase there at checkout with Angel Paste, you can get that discount that is there. Last time I checked, it was quite some time ago. I was checking out the site, and obviously got to get familiar with all of our sponsors here. But I think it was 20% off, so it's a pretty good percentage there. Angelpaste.com, great longtime sponsor, patriotic group, and of course hires military veterans. Great sponsor there. Angelpaste.com. As we're about 3 minutes from the top of the hour. Let's go to a few highlights from President Trump's cabinet meeting from earlier today. Let's take a look at that.
It was just announced that the murder rate in our country is the biggest drop ever recorded. It's at the lowest level in 125 years. First in recorded history, it's the lowest in at least 125 years. It's a wonderful thing. And that crime is way down, and one of the reasons was we've taken a lot of bad people and gotten them out of our country. In some cases, they're so bad that we put them in prison because we don't want them to even take a chance of coming back in, even though our border is very secure, record-setting secure. We had 0 illegal aliens being admitted into our country for the last 8 months. That's hard for even me to believe, but the people that make up the lists are supposedly nonpartisan, but I would say they lean toward the Democrat side. And if they say that, I'm all for it. But after 1 year, growth in real incomes is outpacing inflation by more than 3,000 under Trump. So one cost 34,000 and one made 3,000. That's a big swing. Gasoline has plunged to, think of this, over $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. In California, it's $7, $8 a gallon. While I was in Iowa, and they had $1.85, because I had it at $1.99 a gallon. And I was corrected by 2 farmers that said, I just bought my gasoline for $1.85. So, Chris, you have to be doing something right, you and Doug, right? And the people of Venezuela were literally in the streets waving American flags. They were so happy. And the people in our country, like in the Doral section of Miami, which is considered Little Venezuela, they're thrilled. And I just spoke to the president of Venezuela, informed her that we're going to be opening up all commercial airspace over Venezuela. American citizens will be very shortly able to go to Venezuela, and they'll be safe there. They'll be safe. It's under very strong control. and the people of formerly of Venezuela. Some want to go back, and some want to go back to visit, and they're going to be able to do that. So I've instructed Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, that if you would, by the end of today, I'd like you to have the airspace over Venezuela. Planes can go to Venezuela, opened up. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of the people in Venezuela for what what they went through, and I want to thank the leadership for really they're doing a good job.
The one big beautiful bill that was passed on July 4th last year, we're starting to see the effects kick in. You mentioned the great economy. One of the things in the one big beautiful bill, Mr. President, it was an honor to host you, and as you said, the best rapper in the world, Nicki Minaj, at yesterday's Trump Accounts Summit. We've now had 1 million people sign up for Trump accounts just this week. We think there'll be 25 million families who are eligible. The segment that you and she did has 1 billion hits, 1 billion hits on the internet. So we're telling everyone, go fill out form 4547, trumpaccount.gov. So thanks to you, the Trump accounts and Next Generation's America will benefit from today's record-breaking economy, record-breaking benefits. Sir, when we came in, the Biden administration had destroyed the American people with the 3 I's: immigration, inflation, and interest rates. Immigration, check, you close the border. The inflation, as we've heard, back down to target. Prices are coming down. And interest rates, we hope there's more on the way. We've got gains in wages, low prices, and I think 2026 is going to be the year for the Trump boom. It's a supply side boom. I enjoyed the trip out to Iowa. In the diner, the staff there was thanking you for the no tax on tips, and they're expecting big refunds from that. We saw the CEO of John Deere who said, thanks to your tariffs, new plants in Indiana, Carolina.
Two massive plants being built.
All right, so that was just a couple clips from the cabinet meeting that happened today. Of course, that was the first cabinet meeting of 2026. I think that's about the 8th or 9th cabinet meeting since President Trump started his second term. Also, what we're hearing is that the White House also posted a video about the Trump accounts. Before we go to that, if you missed any of that cabinet meeting earlier, you can always replay and watch here on Right Side. Also, the Tom Homan press conference from Minnesota is also available for you to watch on all of our social platforms. Again, thank you for watching either live or replay or just letting people know about Right Side Broadcasting Network. In the meantime, let's go back to the White House where the president's team posted a video about the Trump accounts.
Under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom.
I am a mom to my beautiful 9-month-old daughter, Isla, and I am so excited about the Trump accounts creating an investment in the next generation and setting our kids up for their financial futures.
My child will be able to start off with $1,000 and we can build with that money so that when she turns 18, she can have something for college or whatever she would like to do with the money, invest in a home.
We're super excited about the Trump accounts. As a family with newborn twins, we couldn't be more grateful for all the support President Trump has given to rural families like ours.
Wall Street will no longer be an abstract concept. It will be brought down to Main Street.
With a family as large as ours, having that seed investment is one of the greatest things that could happen for a large family like us dealing with so many expenses.
It supports families. It helps children at an early age understand the concept of money. And because they can't take it out for 18 years, which I love, it lets the market do its thing. For 200 years, the American economy has driven growth successfully. It'll do it for individuals now, so when that child turns 18, they have a nest egg. This is fantastic.
I'm so grateful, and it almost feels like it's Grandpa Trump giving my kid $1,000 to save up to use in a very, very monumental way.
And that website is trumpaccounts.gov to check out all the information about the Trump accounts. Of course, yesterday was the Trump Account Summit. We had the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent speaking as the keynote yesterday. Of course, we heard from him as well today at that cabinet meeting, the first of 2026 there at the White House. In the meantime, a lot to get to here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We have at just any minute from now, the president will make that announcement from the Oval Office. And we're told that he will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. So I understand that we may have an image or a graphic to show as well that drug overdose deaths have dropped by 23.3%. And that is thanks in part to Customs, Border Protection, and the United States military. And you think about it, on the southern border, really early on in the presidency, we saw that the military was on the border. They're building the wall. They're reinforcing the wall. And on top of that, you look at the Coast Guard, you look at the Navy in some of the open seas area when it comes to anybody trying to get in, bringing in narcotics to this country. So you see a percentage drop. Great to see that happening. Looking for more, right? We always are going to be looking for more when it comes to winning in this country. So that's a win right there. Let's get those. Let's get that percentage to continue to drop. So we do know that according to a report that Carolyn Levitt was talking about on X, that the White House fact sheet is all about the Great American Recovery Initiative. So that's happening here in just a few minutes at the Oval Office. Quite the busy day, by the way, for President Trump. He had an intelligence briefing at 10 a.m. He had an 11 a.m. Press conference of sorts, actually more of a cabinet meeting. Didn't take questions from the press after that. He may this time around, or he may tonight at the event at the Trump Kennedy Center, where he will be with the First Lady attending that screening of the film Melania there. So that's tonight at 7. But quite the busy day for the Commander-in-Chief as the sun is setting in Washington, D.C., and I'm pretty sure it's probably, 12 degrees there? Let me double check real quick on the weather. Let's see here. Now, I see the temperature in the south, about 50 degrees. In Washington, D.C., it feels like 16 degrees right now. 21 degrees is what it is in D.C., and a low of 8 tomorrow night. This is weather that you may see in Toronto or Calgary, but it's in D.C., of course. We know that this weekend there may be another winter kind of storm that happens along the East Coast as well. And for those of you that like sports, let me just real quick say this. All right, so the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing the Boston Bruins down in Tampa, and it's an outdoor game. I believe it's this coming Sunday. And I sent a graphic to my buddy who lives down in Florida. It might snow. There might be some flurries in Tampa, of all places, Tampa Bay, Florida. Kind of interesting. Hockey, outdoor, snow. I thought it was kind of cool. And then the Winter Olympics are around the corner. I put a poll out there the other day about that and said, who likes the summer games or the winter games? Or the other part of the poll was, I could care less. A lot of people said they like the winter games more than the summer. And then a lot of people said they can care less. But anyway. All right, so 5:08 Thursday, January 29th. Again, thank you so much for live streaming in here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you'd like to follow us, it's at RSBN on Truth Social, at RSB Network on X. Also, if you'd like to follow me, it's at Matthew US Media on X and at Matthew Alvarez on Truth Social. Been on Truth for about, 3 years now. Great to be a part of that group of people. A lot of you that are watching as well on Truth Social. So shout out to you guys. And again, a shout out to Joyce Simmons, who we interviewed at the top of the broadcast. If you missed this interview, I'm going to ask you. I don't ever ask. I don't think I ever say, please go watch the interview, but this time I am. At the end of this broadcast, of course, we're going to see the president here shortly. But if you have a minute, just scrub back or watch the replay at the top of the broadcast at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 on the West Coast, and spoke with Joyce Simmons. She's 84. She lives in California. She is a supporter of God, family, country, freedom. And I simply, over the years, she always replies to whether it's a post that I make or a post from Right Side Broadcasting Network or just in general conservative posts. And they all are just so based on on the right side of history. So it was great to bring her on here for a live interview. So it was just kind of thought it would be cool to hear from everyday America. I think that's really what we want to hear from all of us, right? And we know that the president and the RNC, remember the RNC in 2024 over the summertime, they had a lot of everyday Americans standing up there and talking about various policies and topics or things that they deal with or things that they want to see done in government. So it was great to see that. Speaking of the RNC, there is going to be a midterm national RNC convention. We have no idea where it's going to be. We have no idea what date or time, but we know that there's going to be a midterm national convention. Usually, of course, it's something you see during the presidential cycle. Well, this time it's going to be during the midterm year, which is, of course, 2026. So that coming up here sometime. I did read a report that Las Vegas is actually pushing for the midterm national convention. So we'll see if it goes to Nevada, the Silver State. All right, so on February 24th, so next month, which is what, how many days away now? Just a couple. We know that the president will deliver the State of the Union address right at that building right there. So we'll have that live here for you. And then in March, towards the end of the month, so we're looking at March 25th through the 28th, the CPAC conference will be happening in Dallas, Texas. No word yet if the president will be speaking at that. He usually does speak at CPAC. And speaking of events, yet to be officially announced, again, that special RNC midterm convention sometime this year. In April, President Trump, at least at last check, when he spoke about 3 weeks ago or so, that President Trump will be visiting China. Also in May, National Day of Prayer will be on May 7th. On June 14th, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So the UFC will be out there on the South Lawn of the White House on Flag Day. It's President Trump's birthday. That's going to be happening on the South Lawn, so that'll be something to watch. And of course, on July 4th of 2026, our country turns 250 years young. So a huge year for our country. November 3rd, just to round it out, the United States midterm election. And then at the end of the year, the AmFest conference in Phoenix, Arizona on December 17th. So that's just what is scheduled right now, all of the events. That's outside of any breaking news, of course, that happens. If it happens, we'll see. Let's also go to RFK Jr., the Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department there, speaking at President Trump's cabinet meeting earlier. Let's go to RFK Jr. right now.
We're also doing price transparency, which you asked during your first term. It never got implemented because the Biden administration never enforced it. We brought more enforcement actions against hospitals than in this 1 year, and the Biden administration brought in 4 years, and we're doing a crackdown so that every American, when you go to a restaurant, you look at the prices before you buy the meal. You ought to be able to do that when you go to a hospital, and by the time that we leave office, every American is going to have that guarantee.
All right, so if you want to see any of the cabinet meeting from earlier, of course, you can go to Rumble, YouTube, X, all over the place. You can check out our app, website, and just watch the cabinet meeting if you'd like. Also, in other news, we're looking at, of course, the Laken-Riley Act, obviously a U.S. federal law that mandates the detention without bond of non-citizens charged with certain crimes. As you see, 1 year ago today, President Trump signed the Laken-Riley Act into law. It was signed into law January 29, 2025, following the murder of Laken-Riley by an undocumented immigrant. And that's the thing that people that are brainwashed on the left say, well, we have to keep the criminal illegal aliens intact, keep them here. Why would you do that? We see what happened there with Laken. We see Jocelyn Nungary as well when it comes to murder and crime. So it's common sense. It's law and order. And, It's something that's needed here in this country. If there's any more graphics or images, we can shift to that, as it's the Laken Riley Act, named after, of course, the University of Georgia nursing student who was brutally murdered by a previously released illegal alien under the Biden administration. He should have never been here. Laken should be alive today. You know, you think about all of the people that have come across that border over the years when it comes to under Joe Biden. I saw a video the other day of the caravans of people and walking across, walking through, either bodies of water or whatever down there along the border, and just en masse, just millions and millions and millions of illegal immigrants just walking into the country. And then you remember, how about when they all were flown all over the country? Again, listen, from human to human, I'm talking about another human right now. I get it. But you just can't bring in, just like, what if you and me, we said, oh, we're just going to go to Romania. We're going to go to Hungary. We're going to go to Poland. We're going to go to Nigeria, wherever we want to go. You have to still have some sort of paperwork or something. They usually just don't let you into a country, right? So it's the same thing with this country, but not under Joe Biden. We saw what happened there, and now we're just reversing. And when I say we, I'm not in government, but I voted for President Trump, just like many of you did. And I voted for law and order. I voted for mass deportation operations. Don't you have a heart, Matt? It's like, you think about it. When somebody is a criminal illegal alien, it's okay to say we want law and order. It's okay to say we want a mass deportation operation to happen. It's unfortunate to see things like Brandon Johnson, the mayor in Chicago, saying they want to abolish ICE. Abolish ICE, really. Federal agents who are following orders to deport people that are criminally charged with all sorts of awful crimes. Do we need to, we're speaking sense, aren't we here? Is this not common sense, right? So anyway, it's tough to see out there. I know that the temperature of the country right now has been really high, especially watching the images out of Minneapolis. But at the end of the day, we still need to cool off a bit because it's just this constant back and forth. What needs to happen, I believe, is the law and order needs to stay. People need to be deported. These are just simple facts of the 20 promises, the core promises from President Trump to we the people. And if you remember watching here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, I would repeat a lot of the core promises to the American people because they're based in common sense. Number one was to deport illegal immigrants. There's a number of great policies that are there that we want to see fulfilled over the course of this administration. So we're watching, and we want to see. Here's the thing. A lot of people say, we want to bring the country together. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, sure, it'd be great if we had everybody happy and everything's going good, but we know that there's this woke mob of not protesters, of rioters coming against the people of this country. Am I not speaking truth? This is a woke mob of rioters coming against the people of this country. This is not protests. All right, so that's my opinion, and I think it's the opinion of a lot of people out there. So what needs to be done, right? So I think what we can do now is go back to Tom Homan. He spoke to the leaders there in Minnesota. There is going to be a drawdown if the jails in Minnesota work alongside the federal government and get out illegal immigrants that are in jail there and get handed over to the federal government. There will be a drawdown. Do I agree with that? That's not my job to say right now. But my point is this. Let's go to Tom Homan from earlier today. This is just a little bit of a clip of the border czar in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, first of all, about the organization and the funding of the attacks on ICE. I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show our hand, but they'll be held accountable. Justice is coming. Again, we got to all remember why the questions we've seen and why we're here. What started this? 4 years of an open border where millions of people are in this country unvetted. Remember, let's not forget, for 4 years we were told the border was secure. 4 years we were told the border was secure. And we all knew it wasn't. And I want this to be a positive thing we're doing here today. I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women and children sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they when over 4,000 aliens making that journey died, historic record? Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years and keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which make this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again, and that's what we're doing. But my 2.5 days up here, we made a lot of progress. I think everybody agrees on the criminal and public safety threats. They agree it's much safer and easier to arrest an alien in a facility than send a whole team out in the field that's going to draw anger, because now we got to send a bunch of people to do something that could have been done by 1 or 2 people.
All right, so that was the border czar Tom Homan in Minneapolis this morning. That press conference about 7 Central. If you missed any of that press conference, you can watch it here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. On our social platforms, we uploaded that. So a quick shout out to the production crew here at Right Side, getting all the different video elements, the interviews, all the things. Can't do it without them. So thank you guys so much for all your assistance today and every day, 5:21 Eastern, Thursday, January 29th. Now, earlier today, of course, the cabinet meeting, we know that it wasn't one of those really long cabinet meetings like we've seen over the past year, as we saw President Trump joking a bit about the cabinet meeting length today. Now, what's not to joke about is there were no back and forth with the reporters after the cabinet meeting. We'll see if he'll talk to the press here at this event coming up. But let's go back to the president joking about how long these cabinet meetings can last.
So with that, we are going to ask a couple of people to say a few words. We're not going to go through the whole table, because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours. And some people said he closed his eyes. Look, it got pretty boring. In all fairness, I love these people. But there's a lot of people. It was a little bit at the boring side. But I didn't sleep. I just closed them because I wanted to get the hell out of here. Some of them, I didn't sleep, by the way. I don't sleep much, let me tell you. But you know, it's funny. Some of them got me in a blink. You know, when you go like, you know, and they took me as at the closed segment of my cycle. And they said he's sleeping. And besides that, Marco, between these two guys, if I was sleeping, they'd be waking me up very fast. They'd be knocking me, come on, you got to wake up, boss. But no, we've had great meetings. Look, we're the most transparent presidency by far, and I love going around the room, but we're going to pick a few people.
4 words: make comedy great again. I'm sure that clip will be aired all over the place, whether on social media or even the late night talk shows, which I don't watch, don't worry. And I know a lot of you don't either. I wouldn't waste my time unless Johnny Carson was still around, you know. But anyway, that was actually really funny. Believe it or not, I didn't get to see that clip earlier. So it was good to genuinely laugh along with the president there, talking about sleeping in the meeting. Again, you know, this is not, you know, this is an outsider, you know, in the office. And, you know, you think about what President Trump has done since 2015, bringing us to where we are today. And yes, we want to see a number of other things happen, accountability, transparency, all the things. But what a great president President Trump has been for our country, and we're looking forward to him taking even more steps in greatness. Make America great again. America first, all the things, right? Because the reason why I believe everybody got behind the liberty movement, the conservative movement, the Tea Party movement, the MAGA movement, all the movements, whether you call it a movement or not, whatever. It's simple, common sense stuff. It's a bunch of people in this great country that say we love what our founding fathers did. Now, the majority of the country I'm talking about. We love freedom. We love the Constitution. We don't want our country to turn into a nation where if you don't use the right pronoun, that happened in Ireland recently. Go ahead, look up the teacher, Enoch Burke. He just didn't use the right pronoun and knock, knock. That's not going to happen in this country if we have anything to do with it. And we do have something to do with it. So it's called speak up, vote hard, pray hard. When I say vote hard, you know what I mean, just vote. Anyway, that's what I do this for. Yes, I love having a job, but I love working in this industry with you guys. This is something that we have to keep on keeping on. Get the job done. Looking forward to seeing President Trump here in just a minute as the sun is setting in Washington, D.C. All right. Specifically, again, according to a report that Carolyn Levitt posted on X from CBS, that the president is going to sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. So there's this White House Great American Recovery Initiative that the president will be speaking about. The question is, will the president take questions? He didn't before with the cabinet meeting. We'll see if he does this time. And then there's another opportunity tonight as at 7 o'clock, the president and the first lady will attend a screening of the film Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. So that film is tomorrow nationwide for one day in theaters across the country. Those of you watching in Middle Tennessee, maybe the Nashville area or other countries or other states around the union that have dealt with the ice, I think the last thing you're thinking about is getting outside too much because you're still defrosting, probably not even defrosting yet, not even thawing out. It's going to be a minute. But anyway, as it feels like 15 degrees there in Washington, D.C. right now. But anyway, back to my point. So tonight in some theaters across the country, the film Melania will be playing. And then tomorrow, it will be playing in theaters nationwide. So if you get a chance to see that, I'm sure it'll be on Amazon as well for you to rent at home, which it seems like a lot of people do these days, right? You watch it at home instead of go to the theaters. But anyway. All right, so again, let's go over a couple other items that I'm checking out here when it comes to this year. We're looking forward to knowing what the date is, the location, and the time for this special RNC midterm convention. So will this be like the RNC when it comes to, a huge arena and the speakers and all the things? I would think it may be like that. So we'll see when we hear when that will happen. We'll bring that information to you here on Right Side. All right, thanks so much for streaming in. We'll see you later. No, I'm kidding. We are about to go to President Trump here in just a minute as it's the bottom of the hour, 5:27. Originally scheduled for a 4:30, but without a teleprompter here rocking it with you guys. So I'm glad you're here joining us live as we go to a couple of sponsors as we await the president there. So let's go to mypillow.com/. Of course, Mike Lindell running for governor in Minnesota. I always say that now when I talk about MyPillow because that would be a great thing for that state, wouldn't it? It would be a lot more fun to go to a Minnesota Wild NHL hockey game as Mike Lindell being the governor there than under Tim Walz any day of the week. Anyway, mypillow.com/RSBN. Save with the RSBN promo code. A ton of different products on there. More than 2,000 products on mypillow.com/RSBN. And let's go to donate as well. If you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, all I have to do is go to text RSBN to 801-801 and also Kalshi.com. Oh, well, all right, let's do that. Let's go. That's awesome. The director and I are just going back and forth here. All right, so Kalshi.com. You can go to the QR code there on your screen or go to Kalshi.com/RSBN, or you can download the app. If you're looking to bet, trade, or just check out some polls out there, it's pretty interesting stuff. There's a lot of different topics and polls that you can check out. Kalshi.com. As it's 5:28, Thursday, January 29th. if you get a chance, as we're waiting this feed to the White House, to get the book, The Woke Mind Viruses by T.S. Dixon, you know, it really breaks down all about deep state and globalism and wokeism and liberalism and where that all stems from. People like, I'll just stop there. The woke mind viruses. Trust me, you'll like it. All right, let's go with the fact that it's approaching the 5:30 hour now. So that means, or the bottom of the hour, that means I think it's about time to go to the White House. So we're getting ready to go to the Oval Office here any second from now. Again, the president will sign an order launching a new initiative to address drug addiction. This is all about the White House Great American Recovery Initiative, which will advise federal agencies on directing grants to support addiction recovery and aim to increase awareness about drug addiction. So I'm hearing a standby in my ear right here that this is happening any second from now. Thanks so much for sticking with us since 3:30. That's 2 hours straight. That's a lot of talking. I'm glad you stayed. And those that just joined us, you joined us right in time because President Trump about to take to the Resolute desk right there in the Oval Office, and we'll see if the president speaks with the reporters right after that. So as soon as we see that feed, we'll take you there. In the meantime, tonight, again at 7, let's go actually to the White House.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a little busy day. Right? We had a good morning, and now we're having a good evening, and we're going to a premiere in a little while. But there's nothing more important than what we're doing right now, in my opinion. Today I'm signing a historic executive order to combat the scourge of addiction and substance abuse. Big deal in this country and probably in every country. We're calling it the Great American Recovery Initiative. I'm grateful to be joined by co-chairs of this sweeping new effort, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Senior Advisor to the White House Great American Recovery Initiative, Catherine Burgum. Thank you both very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Where's Bobby? Bobby. Hello, Bobby. Come here. I love Bobby. You're doing a great job, Catherine. All right? Do we think so? Who's doing a better job, him or your husband? Maybe the husband does. He's doing a good job.
I'm just getting started, sir.
They're both doing very well, and now you're going to do better than both of them. Thanks as well to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary Doug Burgum, Secretary Scott Turner, Secretary Doug Collins, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who's got some pretty good news, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Oh, I've gotten good at that. You are so good. Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's doing a fantastic job, and Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Sarah Carter. I also want to introduce a great friend of mine who happened to be here, and he's very much committed to this. He knows how important it is for our country. He's built a tremendous American company. It's called WeatherTech. I guess you've seen the ads. I've seen the ads. I think they're great ads, but more importantly, it's a great product. David McNeil. David, congratulations on what you've done. It's incredible.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Really great. And the president of WeatherTech, Ryan Granger. Ryan, congratulations. What a great job. They built an American company, and it's a thriving company, too, so with a great product.
It's great to be here in America.
You know, when I was in the private sector, I'd always buy the floor mats, but now that I'm president, I no longer have to buy floor mats. But you made a great floor mat, and you still do, and lots of other things. Many of those with me today have personally known the heartache of a loved one taken by drug or alcohol addiction. I do. Just like millions of American families, every year we lose an estimated 300,000 people to drug and alcohol abuse, and the real number is probably much, much higher than that. Thankfully, drug overdose deaths plummeted by 21% in the last year. We're working very hard on it. We've closed the southern border, seized over 47 million fentanyl pills and 10,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That's a record, and I have formally designated Dr. And I'll tell you what, we have a group of doctors, some of them behind me, who have just been incredible, and they've really wanted this, designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And for some reason, they didn't want to do that until we came along, but they are indeed foreign terrorist organizations. With our action in the Gulf of America, that sounds so nice when I hear the Gulf of America. Drugs entering our country by sea are down 97%. So when you see the boats being hit, those boats kill on average 25,000 people a boat. So that's 25,000, I would assume mostly American lives, but lives are being saved. Now we're taking a bold action to help Americans struggling with all forms of addiction so they can get the help and the support that they need to free themselves from the horrible burden of dependency. The Great American Recovery Initiative will bring together federal, state, local, and private sector resources to support addiction, recovery, treatment, and prevention. And it will help mobilize the full resources and authority of the federal government to help stop this tremendous plague. And I'd now like to invite Secretary Kennedy to start, and then Catherine Burgum, and then I'll sign the order, which I've just signed. And wanted to make sure the signature was good, took my time. And we get, let me just see, pretty good, pretty good. Let's give it a 10, okay? For Catherine. But I'd like Bobby to say a few words, and Catherine, thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership, for signing an executive order that tells the truth about one of the greatest challenges that our country faces. Addiction is not a moral failure, it is a disease. It's chronic, it's treatable, and for too long our nation has responded with fragmentation, with stigmatization, and silence instead of science, compassion, and coordination. Today, President Trump changes that. With the Great American Recovery Initiative, we finally bring the full strength of the federal government together across healthcare, law enforcement, housing, labor, faith communities, and the private sector to save lives, restore families, and rebuild communities that addiction has hollowed out. Nearly 50 million Americans suffer from substance use disorder. Many never receive treatment. Even more don't believe that help is possible. That is not because recovery doesn't work, it's because our systems have failed to reach the people where they are early enough, long enough, and with dignity. This initiative fixes that. We will align federal programs instead of letting them operate in silos. We will set clear, measurable goals and report honestly to the American people. We will use evidence-based care, modern science, and continuous support, just as we do for heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. We will focus on prevention before addiction takes hold. We will intervene early. We will expand access to treatment that leads to real long-term recovery. And we will support re-entry because recovery does not end when treatment ends. It succeeds when people return to their families, their jobs, and their communities with purpose and with hope. As co-chair of this initiative alongside of Catherine Burgum, whose leadership and commitment strengthens this work, I pledge urgency, accountability, and honesty. Catherine and I share the experience of having been addicted and long-term recovery. But almost everybody in this room and almost everybody in our country has been touched by addiction. Steve Witkoff, who's here, had an extraordinary son, Andrew, who was a superstar boy, a straight-A student, an athlete, and a wonderful leader, and lost that son to addiction. President Trump has talked about his own families who had a struggle with addiction. All of us are touched. If it touches these people, it can hurt every American. And President Trump has often talked about, with compassion, about the families who lose children to this disease. 100,000 children a year until recently. Now it's about 76,000. Those families are devastated forever. And the cost to our country, not only in dollars, but in just the malaise and the despair that it imposes, is incalculable. We are going to listen to states, localities, frontline providers, and tribal nations. We will partner with communities and faith-based organizations. We will work with employers, clinicians, and recovery leaders who know what works on the ground. President Trump has already acted decisively, securing the border against deadly drugs, signing the Halt Fentanyl Act, strengthening treatment programs, expanding access to naloxone, medication-assisted treatments, and investing billions in prevention and recovery. This executive order builds on that record and accelerates it. Recovery is not a side issue, it's an economic issue, a workforce issue, a family issue, a national security issue. When Americans recover, communities grow stronger. When families heal, children thrive. And when we confront addiction with courage instead of complacency, we reclaim the promise of our country. This initiative is about life, it's about responsibility, and it's about building a great American recovery together. With this executive order and with major announcements that I will announce next week, we are taking decisive action to make America healthy again. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby, and great job. And you're doing a fantastic job. He's doing a fantastic job. And I saw his wife yesterday, and she confirmed that he's doing a fantastic job. So she's on your side. You know that. She's great. And Oz, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Catherine, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Your leadership today, relative to this announcement about the Great American Recovery, is a gift to all Americans who are suffering from the brain disease of addiction. I also want to thank First Lady Melania Trump for her leadership during your first administration, and now the work she's doing championing youth and children, especially related to foster care, where early trauma and instability are often consequences of the disease of addiction. Addictions touch this administration in real and profound ways. President Trump, you've openly spoke about your brother Fred, who struggled with addiction, shaped your life and your understanding of this disease. And Susie Wiles carries the lived experience of her father, the late, great Pat Summerall, whose recovery journey became a source of hope for millions. Vice President Vance has shared his story of his mother's battle and recovery. And as Secretary Kennedy just said, he brings his own lived experience, proof that recovery is not theoretical, it is possible. These stories matter because they are not isolated. They reflect the reality of the over 190 million Americans, that's half our nation, who are impacted in some way by the disease of addiction. And I am one of them. I started drinking in high school, and I was a blackout drinker from the start. For 20 years I struggled, relapsing constantly starting over, constantly trying to stay sober and failing. And I reached a point where I truly did not believe there was one single reason for me to keep living, and I was suicidal at the end of my drinking. One day I was out walking alone. I didn't have faith, I wasn't religious, but something in me said I should ask for help. And out loud to no one, because it was just me, I said, I don't know if anyone is there, but I need help. And that was the day I became sober. 15 years later, I found myself somehow standing in front of people as First Lady of North Dakota, thanks to him. But I was asking people to share their stories openly about addiction so we could eliminate the shame and stigma, so more people would reach out for help and more lives could be saved. And today I'm standing here in this incredibly beautiful Oval Office. And if not for the grace of God, I would not be alive today with over 23 years in recovery. That's why I'm here, and my message is simple: never give up hope for recovery. Mr. President, I also want to thank you for allowing me to stand here with you today. I was in this building in 2017 when the administration announced the national response to the opioid crisis. And nearly a decade later, the crisis remains, and in many ways it has grown worse. Not because we lacked compassion, not because we lack effort, but because we never fully aligned our system with the truth. Addiction is not a moral failure. It is not a character flaw, and it's not simply a behavioral issue. Addiction is a lifelong, chronic, relapsing medical disease as real as diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. And when we fail to treat it as such, we don't treat the disease, and we pay mightily for the consequences. Emergency rooms, jails, foster care, overdose deaths, and broken families. The Great American Recovery changes that. This initiative represents a fundamental shift from reaction to prevention, from fragmentation to coordination, from stigma to science, from short-term fixes to long-term recovery. And for the first time, we're aligning federal leadership across health, justice, labor, housing, veterans, social services, the faith office, and education around one single shared truth. When addiction is treated early and correctly, people recover and families heal. Addiction is a generational disease, and if we don't treat it properly, it repeats from parent to child, from community to community. And when we treat it like a lifelong condition, the condition that it is, we stop that cycle. We save lives, we restore families, we rebuild communities, we return people to dignity, purpose, and productivity. Mr. President, thank you for seeing this moment clearly. With your leadership and the Great American Recovery Initiative, we're establishing a new framework and a new national response to the disease of addiction, including treatment and care that parallels other chronic diseases. With this framework and treatment, recovery is not the exception, it is the expectation. Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell. You know, I saw them riding horses in a video, and they said, "Who is that?" I was talking about her, not him. And they explained it. I said, "I'm going to hire him because anybody has somebody like you to be with. It's an amazing tribute, and it's a great couple, amazing couple." And she's very much a part of his big success. He was a fantastic success, as you know, having been one of the most successful business people. And I saw him campaigning, a great governor, two-term governor. He was did a fantastic job, North Dakota, and he's done a great job. And I'll tell you what, Catherine's a very big part of it. I see it. It's just really one of the fantastic couples. So I appreciate it. What a beautiful job you've just done. And I'm going to give this to you, and you can figure out what you're going to do with Bobby. You know. But let's have a good picture of the two of them and everyone else. And I'd like to ask Steve Whitcuff also to say a couple of words when we're finished, because he's a very special person who I knew very well, an incredible person. So if you don't mind, Steve, I'll ask you to do that in just a second. All right? Please, Bob. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Steve, please.
The president is doing the same thing to me now that he did to me in 2017. Do you remember, Catherine?
Yeah, we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to tell the story about this. So I came to the opioid conference, and the president did not know I was coming because I was invited by the First Lady. And he leaned over, saw me in the aisle, and he looked at me and he said, "Steve," and then he realized why I was there, because I had lost my son Andrew, and the president was an incredible friend when I lost him. I lived in his building at 502 Park Avenue, and I remember when him and the First Lady came, and I talked about this all the time. And so he took my hand, and he said to me, "Come on up to the stage and tell the world about your boy Andrew." And of course, that was something that was really meaningful to me, but and I got through it. And I talk about it all the time. I talked about it on the campaign trail and so forth. He is a very special man. And he's begun and led the fight against opioid addiction and alcoholism. And Catherine, I feel like we sort of bonded from that day. Mm-hmm. And it's just my blessing to work for you, sir.
He's a special guy. He and a group of people, Jared helped and others helped. Steve, peace in the Middle East, and we're there.
Yes.
A couple of little flames, but they're very little by comparison, and they'll go out quickly. They're already going out. And he's now trying very hard to settle up with Russia and Ukraine, and I think a lot of progress is being made there. And I told that Russia's not doing any shooting for a period of time during this horrendously cold weather.
Because of you.
Well, So we asked President Putin if they could stop the shooting for a week. They're being hit with proportionately the kind of cold that we're being hit. It's much colder in Ukraine to start off with, but it's really cold now. And he agreed to do that. We appreciated that very much. It's a nasty war. It's a nasty, nasty war. Would anybody else have anything to say? I can say that I am extremely late, but that's okay. Don't worry about me. Would anyone else have anything to say? Doug, you're doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate it. Marty, you are really something special. Everyone's talking about you every time. If I don't mention Marty, Bobby always mentions him. So we have a great team. Jay, great. Marty, great. You guys want to say something?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, historically, with addiction, the entire society has always been reactionary. And that's been the story of healthcare. But at the FDA, we are looking into incredible cutting-edge therapeutics, and we are being proactive, giving them vouchers when we see something that's promising to get an approval as quick as weeks in an era of a 10 to 12-year approval time. And the ultimate therapeutic is community, houses of worship, addressing loneliness. And so that's part of the MAHA agenda, thanks to Bobby's. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Rich. Thank you. Jay?
Mr. President, in 2018, you launched the HEAL initiative, helping to end addiction long-term at the NIH. It's paid fruit. It's yielded fruit. The ingenuity of small business has developed products that can deal with pain without opioids. The naloxone, which saves lives, right. That was the fruit of NIH. And for the kinds of investments that are your administration that you made starting from from the first Trump term to now, will continue to pay dividends. The kind of research that the NIH is doing will help turn the tide, make people's lives so much better, restore families. All of the addiction that we've seen, the 80,000 deaths we saw, the huge spike in addiction deaths, during the first Biden term, is going to be a thing of the past. And I'm so proud of you.
And fellas, some great things happening, right? Yeah. Marty, there's really great things happening, I hear. And some pretty big announcements over a short period of time, right?
Yep. Moving drugs over the counter so you don't need a prescription.
Yeah, right.
Naloxone, which treats opioid, is one of those drugs. And we're being proactive with synthetic 7-OH, a new opioid that's showing up, and we're working with the DOJ on addressing that because chemists are coming up with new opioids faster than the government has been able to keep up. We're going proactive on these new chemicals.
That's great. Now I hear fantastic things. Thank you all very much. We really appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Oz. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right. So the White House creating the Great American Recovery Initiative today in the Oval Office. A beautiful look at the U.S. Capitol building. President Trump to deliver the State of the Union address February 24th from that building right there. Absolutely gorgeous picture. All right, it's 5:52, Thursday, January 29th. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for watching here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you'd like to follow on Truth Social, it's at Matthew Alvarez, or on X, it's at Matthew US Media. If you'd like to follow us at Right Side Broadcasting Network, it's at RSBN on Truth Social and at RSB Network on X. For all of us at Right Side Broadcasting, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live. Look, don't forget to watch my show right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's imperative that you do so, okay? Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.